Leaders of regional bloc, the Southern African Development Community, are meeting in Ethiopia to discuss disputed elections in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Losing presidential candidate Martin Fayulu has filed a court challenge demanding a recount of last month's vote. A ruling is expected by Friday. Fayulu insists he won 61% of the vote, contradicting official results which declared rival Felix Tshisekedi the winner. David Monyae is a senior political analyst at the University of Johannesburg in South Africa and joins me from there. Good to have you with us. One wonders how SADC, as it's known, can actually help sort this problem out in the DRC.
SADC is the most important organization that deals with issues of peace and security in the region. And it is also an organization that monitors elections, guided by the guideline for electoral monitoring. And it has troops in the country under the auspices of the UN. And given what's happening on the ground, that it is quite clear, if it is not attended to now, the chances are high that there will be massive violence. And given the history of the DRC, this has huge implication, not just for the country, but the entire region, particularly neighboring countries.
Indeed, and exactly, I mean, right now what we're waiting for is this appeal hearing to be heard. But, I mean, there are two scenarios, are they not? And they're going to play out one way or the other. The result stands and Tshisekedi wins, or the result is overturned and Fayulu wins. Either way, as you say, chaos ensues. And when you have heavyweights like Cyril Ramaphosa and Paul Kagame at this meeting, they really want to make sure that there isn't another continental conflict which engulfs their nations indirectly or directly.
Indeed. And I think what is critical is to firstly give the Congolese people the chance to be guided by the constitution of the DRC, and the pronouncement coming from the Constitutional Court on the outcome of these elections will guide the regions how to intervene. And as it appears, quite a number of people do not have confidence in the judiciary, given some of the rulings in the past. And therefore, it is quite interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 2-3 days. However, there is a need for contingent plans should violence break out. Of the two options that you have laid out, there's also a third one, which to negotiate and have a clear, fresh elections or form a government of national unity, something that is quite common in this part of the world, as a way out of this dilemma that the DRC confronts.
How likely is that in the light of the fact that the Constitutional Court has been made up of representatives that were put into position there by the former President Kabila, and therefore do they have, you might say, the clout, the willpower to really look into the matter honestly, impartially, and act accordingly? Do you have faith in the way that the Constitutional Court is made up in the DRC?
The court previously has been questioned based on the rulings, and given the fact that there's been a lot of gerrymandering happening in the DRC, that the government has much more sway and it can influence the courts. So it really depends what they're going to say. And when the ruling comes out, the region need to be ready. And the UN, all forces in the world, the United States have troops in the region. You have the SADC troops also, including South African soldiers. So it is a question of negotiating with all role players in the DRC to ensure that peace prevails.
We shall see what does happen. For the moment, David Monyae, thanks so much for joining us from Johannesburg.